Hi Herons, my name's Mr. Oliver and here is your quote of the week. This week's quote comes to us from Mahatma Gandhi. He's significant because he was a famous Indian civil rights activist. He once said, "Be the change you wish to see in the world." And that was your quote of the week. Have a great day, Herons. All right, so here we are. We're making our quote of the week video, and so I have my event called Media Arts Tutorials. You're going to want to make your new project called the quote of the week. Make sure it's in your event, which would be your name, period 1. And I'm going to give it a title called the quote of the week, and I'm going to hit OK, and I should have a blank timeline. Because remember, Final Cut shows you your last project that you have open. Okay, so all right, so what we're going to be doing is following the directions for how to make the quote of the week. So we've already made our project. Now what we're going to need to do is add a background to our video. So what I have done here is I've opened up my titles tab, and then down where it says generators, you can select any of the generators you like. I'm going to use Glimmer, so I just take that and drag it to the timeline, and there you have a background that's going to be the background behind my title in my video. So now the next thing that I'm going to need to do is add a title above the background that says the quote of the week. So I just added a basic title by hitting Control and T. You could also go into the titles and choose which one you wanted and drag it down. And I'm going to shorten this a little bit so that that is about 5 seconds long. And I'm going to type in the quote of the week. Quote of the week. I should make it say of the week. So quote of the week. Once you've got that typed in and you highlight it, you can choose any type of font you want, and there are a ton of fonts. It shows you what they look like on the preview on the side. You can also, and then I'm going to adjust my size here. You can also click on that top part, and you can choose 2D styles, 3D styles. You can save text styles. If you take a video class with me in the future, we'll be saving text styles. But any text style that you want to use for this that you think works great, I'm going to try and use chiseled here, but it's so much larger that I'm going to have to reduce the size. Now it says the quote of the week. So I've got my title, and it's going to play for 5 seconds. You can see it's playing all the way up to 5 there. And I'm going to shorten my Glimmer background so that it is also about 5 seconds. And this is where I'm going to want to zoom in on my timeline so I can see a little better. So by hitting that little film strip button, you can zoom in so that you can really just see the part of the video that you want to be working on. So now I've got, 5 seconds of my title. My background is the same size as it, and I see as much of my timeline as I really need right here. Okay, so my next step is to take my video that I've recorded and add it to the timeline. So I chose to do an introduction that wasn't in front of the green screen. So I'm going to put that in front of my title. You can really do it a variety of ways. This is just showing one of the options. So I'm going to import these 2 clips that I'm going to be using for this into my event. I'm going to select both of them. I held down Command to do that. And then I can import them into my event. When the check mark appears, I'm ready to go. And if I go back to my event browser, I can see my clips. So I'm going to take my introduction first, and I'm going to put that in front of my title. That way it'll introduce the fact that it is a quote of the week segment. So I can just play through it. And I'm going to take that clip that I recorded, and I'm going to drag it to the beginning of my timeline. So I pressed I for my in point, O for my out point. I'm going to drag it to the beginning of my clip, just putting it on the timeline. And then when I play through it, it should look pretty good. I think I have my sound turned off here, but you'll hear it. Actually, you're not going to be able to hear any of the sounds. I wasn't recording sounds when I screen recorded, but there's my sound of me talking there. And you'll see it in the finished product. But now I have that, and then I have my title next to it. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to find a new background to add. So we're going to have 2 different backgrounds for our video because this is going to be the background that I am going to appear in front of. So here's Converge. I'm going to drag that on there. And I think that'll look pretty cool as a background. Once again, you could use a picture for this. You could really be anything at all. So, all right, now I need to take my quote of the week video and add it to the timeline as well. But now I'm going to add it above where I have my background created. So once I play through this and it looks exactly how I want, I'm going to go ahead and drag that into my timeline. So you'll see I'm going to put it directly above. And there it is. Now, it is longer than my background, so I'm going to need to adjust my background so that it is the same length. And then I am going to, as I play through it, you only see the top clip. So whatever is above in the timeline is what you see. It's the same as in a layer-based editor such as Pixlr. So now what I need to do, though, is I'm going to add the keyer. So if I go over onto the right side of the screen into the Video Effects tab, and I search for keying, I can take the keyer and I'm going to drag that over onto my clip. And now when I add that on there, you'll see that it cuts out the background. Well, at least the area that's green. So we're going to have to use the crop tool in order to trim out the parts of the background that aren't green. So you're going to click on the little transform, the little arrow next to it. You're going to switch that to crop. Now when you do, you're going to choose trim. That's the first of the three. And you can just drag the edges in so that anything that is not green isn't appearing. And be careful not to cut off any part of your head or your arm. So if you're moving around too much, it's going to be difficult. But now I think this worked out perfectly. And you can see that I am just in front of that background. It looks like I'm in the studio. Pretty cool. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to need to do is add my quote of the week poster to it that we created in Pixlr. So you're going to have to find that. Hopefully you still have it as a JPEG. And if you don't have it as a JPEG, that's okay. You can go into your graphic design journal and you could take a screenshot. You may also still have it saved in Pixlr and you could re-export it. But either way, you're going to have to take the quote poster that you created during our graphic design unit and you are going to add that on. So right now I'm resizing my video so that I can be a little bit larger. That's probably too large. Let's make that a little bit smaller and I can move myself around. And now I'm centered on the screen. So when you record in the green screen, you don't have to be, it's not how you're going to look on the screen. You just need to have green behind you so that you can then make adjustments to it. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to grab my JPEGs and add them. So let's go ahead and do that. So they're on my desktop and I'm just going to drag those JPEGs into my event. Now I'm going to do both the full screen size, the 1920 by 1080, and then the additional quote poster. So I have options when I go to make my video. So let me first show you the full screen option. So what I'll do is I'm going to drag that clip and I'm going to put it directly above my green screen clip when I get to the point of the video where I'm saying, be the change I wish to see in the world. And so you can adjust that perfectly so that the entire time that you're talking, it'll work nicely. So that's how you put that one in. The other option is to put in your other sized one. And so you can see I've dragged this in here. But with me being in the center of the screen and the drawing being in the center of the screen, it doesn't really work. And even when I make it smaller, now it's too small and it's in the corner. But that's okay. We have a plan for this. So I'm going to use the transform tool in order to move my video clip to the side. So I can just drag myself off to the side. I can kind of use the rule of thirds here to make it work. But let me show you what I'm going to do first. So I'm going to split my clip because as I'm talking about how this is the quote of the week and why Gandhi is important, I'm going to split my clip apart. So I'm going to use the blade tool so that I can split that clip. So I'm going to split it at the beginning and I'm going to split it at the end. Now it's a separate clip. And so when I make a change to that part in the middle, it won't change the beginning parts. So that's how you get to the blade tool and then back to the select tool. Okay, now that I'm selected again, I can drag my video clip around. So now I'm going to be able to move myself off to the side. And then I can click on my JPEG that I've added and I can adjust that as well in just a second here. So I'll click on the JPEG. I can make it a little bit bigger, dragging on the corners. And that is how that can work together. So you can see the beginning of my video, I'm in the center, the middle of the video, I'm on the side, and then at the end, I'm in the center again. So it looks pretty slick, right? So that's an option, or feel free to cover yourself entirely while the quote's talking. But when you're just introducing or you're describing the character, you want to see yourself or have pictures or titles that explain the significance of the person that the quote is by. So then we'll end with, and that was your quote of the week, and have a great day, Herons. And so that is how your quote's going to look. Now we're going to add some music to this. So you already know how to take songs from the sound effects in the jingles, and you could add them in. I'm going to show you another method also. So in Google Classroom, we have a folder called Epidemic Songs. And so if you go into Classroom, you'll see it's listed right there. It's also under Resources. And you click on that link. This opens up a folder with all sorts of songs that are much longer that we use on Heron TV. And so as I play through, I'm going to choose some songs here. Now you can't hear that audio, but you'll hear it in my final version. And so I'm going to take that song and I'm going to download it. Let me show you how that works. So click on that down arrow in the top corner, and then that's going to download to your downloads bar, and then you can just drag it into your video. So now I've got my song there, but I have to decide when I want it to start, and I don't want it to start when I'm talking. I want it to start when my title comes in, and then I'm going to have my whole song going through. Now, there's going to be a problem though. It's going to be much, much longer, so I'm going to have to trim my clip. So if I go to the end, I can press Command and B, or I can use the blade tool, and I can cut my song so it's the same length. I can then just highlight and delete. And it's the same length as my video. And now I have my song that's playing while I'm talking. So you're going to see I'm making some audio adjustments here. What I'm doing is I'm going to make the music fade out. So you have to adjust. So there's these two little triangles here that appear. And then when you drag it to the left, you can see that that's making it fade out. Now I'm actually zoomed in so far that that was only a quarter of a second. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit by pressing Command and minus, and then make it fade for about a second or two. So that's at 2 seconds. So it'll be a nice soft fade. And there my song will be playing while I'm talking. But here's the problem. The song is a little bit too loud, and I'm going to need to make some changes to that. So what I need to do is I need to use my range tool in order to make it work a little bit better. So let me show you how that works. Okay, before I lower my audio, I'm actually just going to be making it so that the sound fits in nicely with what I'm saying. So the song changes a little bit. There becomes a drum beat. It becomes much more upbeat. And I want that to come in right after I say, and that was your quote of the week, have a great day, Herons. So I need to make some adjustments. So I'll speed up the video, and you can see that I'm just changing the length of the titles and the position of where the song is so that I can get it to line up perfectly. And you'll see the end result in just a second. All right, so I just shortened that opening title to make it so that the hit comes right afterwards. You're going to love this final result. It's one of my favorite things that I've made in a while. It just lined up perfectly. All right, so now I need to make it a little bit quieter while I'm talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my range tool, and it should be up in just a second here. And so I'm going to hit the letter R. I can also go over to that little button on the left where you have your different select tools. And I can just choose the range. So you click there and you can see range is an option. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a range around my audio where I'm talking, and I just have to make the volume a little bit lower so that you can hear how it works. So let's lower that down. I normally like to lower it to like -10 or -15 to see how it's perfect. And you can go ahead and make adjustments accordingly. So I sped this up once again just to show you how I just go through and I make little tweaks, adjusting the volume levels at different parts of the video, just so that you can clearly hear the talking, that the music doesn't come in too loud at any sections, and you can make it, you can really go in and just make all the difference. So sometimes you'll see on Heron TV that the sound's a little bit off, and really that's kind of one of the first things people notice. So really take the time to make your sound look fantastic. I think you'll really see the results when you put in a little bit of extra work. The other little adjustment that I'm making here is I'm going to add a video effect to my title. So you can do all sorts of effects. I'm going to choose the one that says bad TV. I think that works really nicely. So you can just search for it. You can either scroll around or in the search bar you can type it in. But there's a bunch of different ones that might work for it. So there's like an earthquake or an underwater. You just drag that onto there, and then you can even adjust it as you like to. I don't really want to adjust mine. I think it looks great as is. All right, and once you have everything exactly how you want it, you're going to go ahead and export your video, and you'll do that by clicking on that little share button in the upper right-hand corner. And when you do that, you're going to see that you have an option of where to save it to. I'm going to make sure I'm saving it to my Media Arts folder that's on my desktop. I'm going to hit export, and I am going to wait until that little circle becomes a check mark, and then my video should pop up on the screen in just a second here once it's done. So don't turn off your computer while this is happening. And now there's my video, and I can play through it to make sure it looks good. And then now I'm going to take that video and I'm going to add it to my I'm going to add it to my Google folder. So let me show you that. All right, so that is in my folder. I can just go ahead and close that, and I'm going to open up my Media Arts folder in Google Drive, and I am going to upload that. So make sure you find the folder that you have created for this class where you can store all of your work. And when you open up your folder, I've got lots of things called Media Arts, so it's going to take a minute, but there's my Media Arts folder. You can drag directly into it, or you can press the New button with a plus on it over on that left side. And when you do, you can choose File Upload, and you'll select the location where your file is saved to. It's in my Media Arts period 9, so I click Desktop, open up that folder, press Open, and then I select the video and hit Open. Now it's going to upload, and now my video is uploading. So once that's all uploaded, you're going to turn it into Google Classroom, and you will be completed with your Quote of the Week video. So good luck with your Quote of the Week. Yeah, there you go. That's how you make a Quote of the Week.